Good evening and welcome to Modern Spiritualists Live. I'm Aeson Knight, and joining me tonight is Smita Roy, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? You're one of our international advisors. Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of India.
Awesome. So that's a different culture. It's a really late time for you joining us. Thank you so much for doing so. So, how long have you been
No,
reading?
I have been reading for roughly about 20 years. I started very young,
Uh huh.
and I've been on Fortunica for the last 3 years, a little more than that.
Uh, what do you like about
So
Fortunica?
I like the flexibility which is there, firstly, because of the timing. What happens is that I also do a lot of animal welfare work, and whatever I'm earning out of my spiritual services, it all goes there.
Ah,
So you cannot actually hear them in the background, you know.
yeah.
So I have a lot of them. I have a lot of rescues,
Uh huh.
and apart from that, we also take care of a lot of wild animals. So,
Really?
I'm staying in a place which is like close to a jungle. So we keep coming across different breeds, different species of animals,
Really?
and, time and again, whenever it's needed. So, yes, Fortunica gives me both of those things. Firstly, the time, and of course, the money.
Right.
The clients that come in, so it's almost like you're not just asking me a question, you're also doing your bit for the environment, you're doing your good karma for the day by asking me a question, because all of that is going into the animal welfare work.
Right. And,
No.
you're also an animal communicator, so that really comes in handy there.
Yes, absolutely. I've been communicating with not just domestic pets. Uh, we've also been dealing with cattle and wild animals. So I've dealt with snow leopards, I've dealt with snakes, turtles, um, lions, different animals,
What has been the most
white
unusual
foxes.
wild foxes, really? What has been the most unusual communication you've gotten with the wild animals?
Uh, I think the most unusual communication would have been the snow leopard. I had met this guy like randomly walking around the forest, and this was not locally. This was in a different place that I had been to. I was up in the mountains where they actually stay, and the guide who was there taking us through the forest, he said that you make sure that you walk in a group, because they avoid groups. And I said, okay. And for some reason, because, I'm also a very curious cat myself, so I would just stand back, and, I usually keep taking a lot of pictures and photographs, and
Hmm.
I'm always swaying away from the group. And suddenly I could smell this very, very strong stench. And I was like, okay, there is somebody here, and the group is up ahead, and I've been left behind, but I'm not alone. And I turned back and I see this wild cat out there. It's a snow leopard, and it was like the most amazing moment of my life, I could say. And it was a completely wild one. It was not domesticated, although they had a sanctuary, but this guy was completely out in the wild. And for a few moments, I took time in breathing, connecting with its energies. Fortunately, it did not attack me.
Right.
And that's when after this encounter that happened, I'll tell you what happened in the encounter a little while later.
Hmm.
But after this encounter happened, I studied a little more about how animals actually see us. And what they see is, they actually see our aura. They don't see our physical features as we see each other.
Hmm.
So animals, a lot of animals are colorblind, or like dogs, they see everything in black and white. So all of them have this one common feature, that they read your energy. So if your energy is open to them, they will not attack you. I will not guarantee that, because tomorrow there'll be some people who maybe just amateurly would go and rush into the wild and, okay, let's tame a lion today. No, don't do that.
Right.
This is a very, very carefully, it's a whole process that you have to go through. You have to train your mind and your body and your whole spirit into that environment, into that zone, so that you're able to communicate with them. And this wildcat, I communicated with this guy, and all he said was that, how he would feel that people keep disturbing it a lot. And I
Hmm.
say, yes, okay, I hear you. We know that, all of us we love going camping, and we love going trekking and hiking into the forest. But he says that, at the same time, they are causing a lot of disturbance. I don't get food because my food runs away. Or maybe, a human might see that I'm chasing someone and try to save them and shoo me away. Or they might just come attacking me. So, these kind of things.
Right.
And I've said, yes, I mean, that's quite common knowledge. Many, skeptical guys out there might think that this is very, very common knowledge. Why is the cat saying so? It's not saying something new. But what the next thing that it did was that he says, I'm not going to harm you if you don't harm me. And this is not happening in human language. It is all happening in a very, it's all energy. It's all an exchange
Hmm.
of energy that's, going on.
Right.
And I said, okay. So what I did was I said, I'm not harming you. I'm not here to harm you. I love you. You're majestic. You're beautiful. And we can be friends. I mean, of course, I wouldn't be staying here. You'll be here in your forest. I'll be going back home. But for this moment, for right now, let's be friends. The
Hmm.
next thing it did was it rolled over on its back like a house cat, and I gave him a belly rub. What do you think
Aw,
of that?
that is so
And
amazing.
so I was like, yeah. So he read my energies. I read his energies, and I was like, okay. I mean, he was like all open, surrender, like, they go
Hmm.
like this.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'm gonna touch you. Don't bite me. Don't attack me. And I did that, and it purred like a house kitten. So
Uh-huh.
it was beautiful. It was like, oh wow, okay, this happens. So
Right.
after that, I think I got more involved into this whole process of taking care of animals, rescuing whenever needed.
Hmm.
uh, the year 2023 is the year that adds up to a number 7.
Uh-huh.
And I was just having this discussion with another fellow astrologer friend of mine, and we were just saying, like, how the whole year comes up to, and it was like, oh, it's a number 7. So a number 7 in Indian astrology adds up to something called as Ketu. So Ketu is basically the south node of the
Hmm.
moon.
Right.
Okay, so that's how we read it in the astrological charts. And Ketu is very, very, Ketu loves dogs.
Right.
Okay. And I mean, of course, it loves all animals, but it's specifically partial towards dogs. So I just got to know this, like, like, okay, there's something with dogs that's happening next year. And so all the people who've been bad to dogs and or
Uh-huh.
all animals, there are a lot of people who are very cruel to them.
Right.
So they're gonna have it. I
Well,
mean,
good.
this guy, this guy is Ketu is basically a demon. It's a demon entity. Okay, so Rahu and
Right.
Ketu are two parts. They used to be a demon. I mean, it used to be one demon. And there's a whole mythological story about how they got cut in half. And
Hmm.
Rahu took the north node of the moon, and Ketu took the south node of the moon.
Hmm.
And so this coming year, there's going to be a lot of these changes that are happening. Good changes for the animal kingdom, just like
Hmm.
in the year 2020, we saw that everybody was sitting home, and of course, it went very heavy on all of us all across the world, with the whole pandemic. But the animal kingdom breathed a sigh of relief. You could
Right.
see all these videos and posts coming from across the world where, like Venice had all those dolphins swimming in its canals.
Right.
And a lot of these things, a lot of these wonderful videos where these animals just came out and they were just on their own without the fear of what humans are going to do to us, because they're
Right.
not there. They're all locked up at home. So
Exactly.
next year there could be something of a similar sort. So just be
Interesting.
careful.
You know, okay, we have K2 in Indian astrology. In Western tropical astrology, the South Node is your karmic death.
Yes.
You know,
So again,
so
Ketu
it could be
deals with the
a lot.
karmic debts.
Yeah, so it could be very. I think it'll be a very interesting 2023 looking at that karmic debt level there.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you combine the systems? Because I know that you're very versed in both of them.
Yes, I do combine them.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm doing a reading, I just try to see it depending on how much detail has been given to me by the client.
Uh-huh.
So, like sometimes I have had people who will just write, "What does he think about me?" I just have the client's name because they've registered their profile on the app. But
Uh-huh.
who is this he? Is
Yeah.
he a friend? Is he an ex boyfriend? Is he a present boyfriend? Is he a brother? Is he a father? Is he an uncle? Who
Uh-huh.
is this he? How would you find that out? So,
Yeah.
that's when the cards come in handy. So, with the tarot, we can read, like, what kind of energy this person is trying to ask about.
Mm-hmm.
Or if at all there's nothing, if the energies are completely blocked, then we just send back the question asking that please give me some more detail. But as opposed to that, if somebody is writing all their details down, that this is the birth date, or this is my birthday, this is this other person's birth date, some people are generous enough to write the time as well as the place of birth. So
Right.
with that, we can, with all that detail added in, we can actually read the charts as well. So along with reading the cards, reading the tarot, or even if
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading with the runes,
Mm-hmm.
which is equivalent to the tarot. So, along with that, I can also check their astrological charts about what exactly is happening, or what is their nature like, or what is their psychology like. A lot of the detail comes in there. So it becomes handy. And yes, I combine the two wherever possible.
Right. And because I've not really deeply studied Vedic astrology because it's a whole, for me it looks like it's a whole different astrology system. I've looked at it because my software will do Vedic for me if I wanted to. But there's
Right.
just so much there, so I'm just amazed by the use of it and how things combine there. Um, quickly, what was your first psychic experience?
What was my first psychic experience?
Uh huh.
Okay, I was 6 years old, and we used to have this. We used to have our school buses, and due to a lack of enough school buses for the people or the number of students that we had around, we used to
Hmm.
go in batches. So there used to be one bus, that was appointed in two or three batches for the same route.
Hmm.
So the first batch goes, and the second batch of students will be waiting in the school basement. And I used to be in the second batch out there. So we used to wait in the school basement, used to have our fun, chill, okay,
Hmm.
till we're just waiting for the buses to come back so that, it picks us up and then it drops us back home.
Right.
And our school was very, very close to crematorium, you know.
Yes.
So I mean, not a cemetery, but a crematorium. So, because, in India, we burn the dead bodies.
Hmm.
So it used to be there. And many a times you used to see, just look out of the window and we could actually see all that happening. I mean, it's changed a lot now
Right.
because they've covered the whole area and everything. A lot has developed, but at that point of time, it wasn't like that. It was all
Right.
open. So we used to keep getting the stench of flesh burning, sitting
Right.
in school, you're sitting in class, and, all of this was used to happen. So I was sitting there in the basement, and suddenly I see that, from over the wall, which was, the wall used to divide the school grounds as
Hmm.
and the crematorium. So I could see this huge orb of light, that's coming from
Hmm.
over that side of the wall, and it's coming. And suddenly I could see, like, there was something. It wasn't just an orb of light. There
Right.
was something in that light. And I was a kid. I got scared. I was like, I
Right.
don't know what is happening. Okay.
Right.
And this orb just came up and it sort of engulfed me. And I don't remember. I blacked out after that, but all
Hmm.
the fellow students and teachers over there, they were like, I was screaming like anything,
Right.
looking at that, like looking at something. They couldn't see it. I could see that.
Right.
And they said, you just suddenly started screaming, and we got scared. Like, what got into you? Like I was possessed or something. But it wasn't that. But this was the first ever proper experience, you could say. Before this used to be like, okay, I'm hearing some sounds which other people are not hearing, and I'm
Mhm.
getting scared. But this was something very not exactly tangible and yet tangible, if you know what I mean. So I could
I
see
know what you mean.
something just
Yes.
came over. And post that, I've had many experiences where I'll probably, if I love roaming around alone. I take
Mhm.
hikes alone. I'm a solo
Mhm.
traveler.
Uh-huh.
And many a times I would meet, like, different people from different places who are traveling, fellow travelers, fellow tourists, and we
Mhm.
would have talks and everything. So many times this has happened. I'm talking to a person just like I can see you right now. I mean, even though
Right.
it's virtually, but imagine somebody sitting right in front of me. I've been having a talk with them for a very long time, knowing about, like, whatever, where are they from, and what did they do, and what are they doing
Mhm.
out here, what did they see out here, in that particular place and everything. And suddenly the person disappears.
Yeah. And that's just like, okay, that was nice, but you could at least said goodbye.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, honey, let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk about some life coaching stuff you're doing.
Yes.
I found out that my husband had been cheating on me, and my whole world turned upside down.
I stressed over any and everything, constantly waiting for the next shoe to drop.
I was attracted to a psychic advisor to get clarity.
I was like, there's no way that's real. But the things that were coming up felt so accurate.
I really need that unbiased, non-judgmental advice. If there's some part of your life that is not quite fitting in, you maybe want to try something that you haven't tried before.
Try psychic reading on your phone. Your first 3 minutes are free. First, choose a topic or method. Second, choose a psychic. Third, start a call or chat. The first 3 minutes are on us. Install Zodiac Psychics now. Talk to a gifted and trusted psychic advisor.
All right, welcome back. So you're doing something interesting. You've got life
Yes.
coaching going on, but you're also doing magic. Most people think that they're two separate things. The magic department goes over here and life coaching over here, but you're working them together?
Yes.
Okay, how so?
Okay. Not the people who are not really into magic and
Uh-huh.
only into life coaching. And I've got a lot of friends who are like that, and they always come up with this particular debate. The same question
Hmm.
that you asked. Oh, it does not work. Magic does not work, and I'm like, no, it does. Okay, now imagine I'm telling you that, okay, that's a very common thing that we do in life coaching, is that if you are feeling a certain thing, like let's say you're dealing with a certain phobia, and I ask you that, imagine this particular phobia, okay, give it a form, give it a shape, talk to it, see that it is talking back to you. Okay, you've had a conversation, and then you release this, let it go out of your system. How do you imagine all of that? Okay, so this is one part of it. Now, instead of that, if I give you something like, okay, you know what? Take this black candle, okay? Just write this particular phobia. Like, suppose you have hydrophobia. So you write hydrophobia on this candle,
Hmm.
place it, put this intention, and put all those elements which are needed for magic. You've got the whole setup out there with all the five elements working together, and place this candle right there, and then you talk to it. Okay, and put all of that phobia into this candle and light it, burn
Hmm.
it. So what is happening is that whilst you're doing magic, you are also giving a very tangible form to the whole process of what we are trying to tell you in life coaching.
Hmm.
Okay, because it does not get too easy for a lot of people. Now, what happens is that our brain, our mind is divided into three parts, as our dear Father Freud said.
Hmm.
Okay, I call him Father Freud because he is the father of psychology and as well as life coaching. It all comes from there.
Right.
So, okay, so Father Freud says that we have three parts of our mind: the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. All right. So now the conscious mind is what you and I are talking in right now. We're seeing things around us. We're connecting with everything around us. Okay. This is the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is while you're talking to me, there are a lot of things that might be going on in the back of your head, or maybe whatever I'm telling you, you're visualizing all of those things. And
Right.
this is subconscious because you're visualizing you because you could have seen something like that, or you can use the power of your imagination and
Hmm.
you can actually see that you can see a particular visual to whatever I am telling you. That is where your subconscious mind is working.
Hmm.
Okay. And the unconscious mind is something where we are completely detached from. The unconscious mind only activates when we fall asleep,
Hmm.
or maybe at times if we are in a very crazy situation, like if we meet with an accident or something,
Right.
where our all the pent up energy is required for us to come out and
Right.
be there, be consciously there. But on normal grounds, this happens in the sleep, or this happens in just the back of your mind, as we keep
Right.
saying. All right. So when we are doing life coaching, we are tapping onto all of these aspects. Now, what happens is that the subconscious mind is like a 5-year-old child's. Okay. So when you were 5 year old, everything else grew, okay, after that, but your subconscious mind remained there. So
Hmm.
how do you deal with a 5-year-old child? If you tell him, no, don't do this, like, why not? I'm going to do it.
Right.
Okay. So what do you give it? Or if I tell you that, okay, you know what, you're supposed to do it, and you're like, no, give me a good reason. Why should I do it? Or give me some bribe. I need an ice cream or a chocolate after this if I'm gonna do this.
Right.
You know, if I tell a 5-year-old kid, okay, go pick up your toys and go clean up your room. I'm not gonna do it. I say, okay, what if I give you a chocolate after that? Okay, fine, I might do it. You
Hmm.
might go and do it. Okay.
Right.
So when we practice magic, the essence of magic is way deeper than that, of course. But whenever we are using certain things, especially to help a person enhance their life, to let go of something which has been disturbing to them, or something that they have just held on to, like for example, when we're dealing with depression. Okay, depression is yes, today it has become a very serious case of and we are considering it as a mental disease. But
Right.
what exactly is depression? Depression is just something that happened in our life and we're not ready to let go of it. you know
Right.
we're just behaving like that 5-year-old child who just clings on to something that it likes, and no matter what it is, whether it's harming you or whether it's good for you, if you like it, you're going to hold on to it.
Right.
And when you hold on to something for a very long time, it starts causing trouble, right?
Right.
So with magic, what we are doing, like in this case with depression, or with certain life patterns that are repeating in our life, we use cord cutting. Now, cord cutting is magic, but
Hmm.
the same thing if I am doing with life coaching, then it will be release work.
Hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, both of these are quite related. What we are doing is we're giving our mind something tangible to hold on to, that, okay, you know what, you do this, it's done. Because
Hmm.
at the same time, your subconscious mind is, again, despite being the 5-year-old child that it is, it's very strong. It's like, you've given like, the Mjolnir to a 5-year-old.
Right.
So you just give it a direction on how to use it.
Right. And something else to point out there, and I very much agree with this, is that 5-year-old is abundant in energy and abundant
Yes.
on finding focus. I mean, it's like you give him chocolate before he cleans his room. You're going to have to like prime off the ceiling. Same thing with the subconscious. You can release and get that subconscious really working for you. Now, you
Absolutely.
offer custom rituals, meaning
Yes.
they're designed for the client, but the client has to do the
Yes.
work. You don't have like the room behind you with 500 candles running at the same time and working the magic for the client. It's very much the
And
client has to do the work.
Not exactly. What I
Okay.
do is basically when I say custom rituals, it means that I have done my bit of the ritual, okay,
Mm-hmm.
from my end. Like supposing you ask me for a ritual, that this is the problem. Like for example, if you're having monetary issues, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I say, okay, we'll do a spell for that. Okay, but from your end, you need to do something as well because you're not sitting in front of me, you're virtually there. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
can't touch you, I can't transfer that energy physically to you, or I
Right.
can't give you something physically, right?
Right.
So I do the ritual from my end. Well, I don't have to light a million candles behind me. There are different ways to do different rituals.
Right.
Uh, right, so I've done my bit, I have energized this particular spell, and from your side there'll be like about 2% of what you need to do in this entire spell.
Right.
The rest 98% is already done by me from
Okay.
my end. Okay, and it
Right.
is not time specific. It is not time specific because
Mhm.
in magic time does not exist, you know.
Right. Well,
So in
nowhere in the
magic
spiritual world
works
does
in a
time exist except on
yes,
the
I
earth
mean,
plane.
yes. So, whenever I'm doing this, so I put it like in a future tense. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, whenever you are ready to do the spell activates and it comes to you. I have
Mhm.
already sent this to you. It's just like, we do distance healing, we do
Right.
distance Reiki, and, other spiritual
Right.
modules that we practice for healing. So
Hmm.
similarly with the spells, which is why I particularly write this thing, it is customary because I charge the spell with your name and all your details, and I say,
Hmm.
okay, this person needs help with this, so I'm calling in this magic power to help this person. So whenever you are doing your bit, like for example, if I ask you that you need to light, two candles or this particular candle, or maybe get the a certain crystal or something. So
Hmm.
from your end, it's as simple as that. And I'll just ask you to do some chant. Now, the chant is just a command that the magic that I have
Hmm.
already released in your name says, okay, it's time to work. It's like a bugle,
Right. Very
So
much.
it comes to you. Yeah. So it
Right.
comes to you and it starts working for you.
Very cool. All right, darling, let's take a break, and then when we come back, let's talk about some life-changing patterns that you've been able to help people with. Okay?
Sure. All
Awesome.
right.
Try psychic reading on your phone. Your first 3 minutes are free. First, choose a topic or method. Second, choose a psychic. Third, start a call or chat. The first 3 minutes are on us. Install Zodiac Psychics now. Talk to a gifted and trusted psychic advisor.
For so long, everything was difficult because I was allowing it to be and almost finding more comfort in that chaos.
My psychic advisor really helped me stop and take a breath and look within and be okay with what was happening right now.
Having that 24/7 access is amazing. Just a quick moment to get some clarity.
We are here on a journey and we can't always control it. All we can do is be along for the ride.
All right, welcome back. So you've been doing some life-changing stuff. People get stuck in that they have a lack of luck, their family is just never lucky, or it's I'm never going to find love because I keep dating the wrong man. What are you working with changing those old patterns? What
So,
can you
like I
do for
mentioned
people?
earlier, firstly, there is always the shortcut method, which is like the spells, right? That we do. I
Mm-hmm.
think I lost you. Okay. So, we do the spells. That is like a very quick and easy method. The difficult part is when we get into the life coaching aspect as to why this person has attracted this experience in their life. Why is this person living through this pattern? Like many a times, we don't realize this, but we actually love the drama. We love that things are going bad with us. Why? Because somewhere it is, bringing us the attention of the people around us who otherwise are probably not looking at us. Or maybe we're just accustomed to that drama. Maybe we find comfort in that drama. So it's all about not wanting to break that pattern because we are afraid to look beyond this particular space that we are stuck in. So
Right.
when we start looking beyond, and that's again another fear that people generate within themselves. And because of this fear, the cycle keeps going on wherein they are attracting the same kind of experience. They're feeling bad for themselves, and the new person that comes in their life, they're like, oh, you know what, the last 10 relationships I've had, they've been like a misery. They have all cheated on me and I don't understand. I mean, am I so unlovable, or am I so bad that people have to cheat on me, or people just have to leave me and go? But we don't realize we're actually creating the pattern for us. What are we getting out of this? The other person, he'll be like, okay, I hear you. Now, if the person has feelings for us, we'll be like, I'm sympathetic towards you. I understand. It's very painful, but don't worry. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, the person comes with all this conviction that he is not going to cheat on you, but the situation turns such because of these patterns that you have already created in your matrix around, that the person at some point of time ends up doing something which is like cheating or exactly cheating.
Right.
Now, what is like cheating is, maybe doing something that you don't like, and yet the person ends up doing it, and, it hurts you. And you'd be like, I shared everything of mine with you. I told you my deepest, darkest secrets, and you were the person who ended up hurting me. Like, you were the last person that I expected this out of. But we
Right.
don't realize is that this whole pattern, this whole experience is created by us. Now, why this is happening? So we start digging into the roots of it. Where did it come from? And most of the times, all of these things come from our childhood experiences.
Hmm.
So while we think that children are not looking at anything, whatever they do, they don't understand anything. Even a 3-year old or a 5-year old, or to the extent the prenatal stage when you are in your mother's womb, even at that time, whatever is going on around in your surrounding, you're absorbing all of that. And you could be creating a pattern for your life. Like, for example, if you are born to a single parent, if you're born to a single mother, and your father has left you way before you were born, he
Hmm.
had nothing to do with you, you
Right.
will grow up to sort of attract that kind of an experience in your life, because that's all the life that you have known. You could grow up to become a single mom yourself if you're a woman, or if you're a man. The minute you realize that your girlfriend's pregnant or something, you'll be like, okay, I'm not taking this responsibility because I was not taught. This is
Right.
not what life is. This is what life is, the way that I know. So these are the patterns that need to be broken.
Hmm.
Okay. And this is what we do in life coaching. We do a lot of digging work. So we'll start asking you certain questions, we start giving you certain exercises to do. And once you start doing them, you start realizing a lot of things yourself. It's not me who's telling you, it's actually you who would be telling me that what exactly is going on, what are you thinking, or what is the thought that is coming to you. So through all of that, we start doing the digging work. Other aspect of this is, of course, hypnotherapy. But again,
Hmm.
hypnotherapy, just like magic spells, it's a shortcut method. So
Right.
the long cut is life coaching. It takes a very long time, it takes a lot of patience. It takes a
Hmm.
lot of patience from the client side more than me, because many a times, people are like, we're not going anywhere, we're just going in circles, we're just answering the same questions, and we're just looking at that. But yes, what we are doing is we are going in a spiral. We're not going in a circle, and we're going deeper and deeper into the issue. Sometimes it has happened that we have actually landed in the past life of the person.
Right.
Okay, so of course, many cultures don't believe that we have a past life. In India, we definitely do believe in past lives and reincarnations.
Right.
And if you read Dr. Brian Weiss, you can actually see that even science has discovered that there is something called as the past life. Now the past life is basically just the experience of the soul. It's not in your present body, it's just the
Right.
soul that you carry, and the soul carries all those memories,
Hmm.
and it is designing your future life based on what it has experienced in the past. So
Right.
we have to let go of all that, and then we work on soul healing. So, along with life coaching, now life coaching is just to find out what the problem is. Once you found out the problem, we use different spiritual practices like Reiki or spiritual healing so that we can heal that aspect. So, if your soul is broken into fragments, we'll start bringing those fragments back. We'll rejoin your soul and make it whole and heal it,
Yeah.
and that's like sealing the deal. Or we can change patterns in your DNA which has gone in, like certain belief systems, so we change those belief systems. So this is all done with theta healing. You've heard of theta DNA healing.
Right.
So likewise, even if you're practicing something like pranic healing, so a lot of these healings come in place after that. But the first step is life coaching, wherein we start finding out the problem. And most of the times the solution itself comes out of finding out what the root cause of the problem is.
True. True. And what are your thoughts on the law of attraction? People talking about editing thoughts or editing ideas, or oh, I'm always not lucky. Well, if you started saying you were lucky, you'd start being lucky. I think it's more than words. What's your thoughts on that?
It's definitely more than words, because once you start living that, uh, that aspect that you're trying to attract in your life.
Hmm.
Okay, now how do you live that? You'll say, okay, I feel that I earn $1 million every day. I am a millionaire and I can spend like Elon Musk on everything. But it
Hmm.
does not happen like that. Law of attraction does not believe or does not work on the physical realm. That's one thing that needs to be made clear,
Hmm.
firstly, because it's not like, I tell you, okay, you know what, work with the law of attraction, and you say, okay, I'm rich, I'm going and buying a Ferrari for myself. But no, it's not about buying the Ferrari. It's about the feeling that you get after you have bought that Ferrari.
Right.
So let's say that you take yourself to that place wherein you imagine that you have gone to Ferrari World, you've booked your car, and you have ordered your Ferrari, and it has arrived. It's sparkling new. It's
Hmm.
the leather is fresh. You can smell the engine. It's
Hmm.
never been ridden, and you this is your first ride. You have the keys in your hand. How do you feel? You
Right.
have achieved it. What you dreamt of, you've achieved it. Now experience that feeling and hold on to that feeling. So at least hold it on for like about 30 seconds. Just hold that thought.
Right.
This is commanding the law of attraction to work for you,
Right.
and this goes in every aspect. The only thing that it does not work on is a fellow human. Okay, so let's say that
Yeah.
somebody wants to work with the law of attraction to attract the love of one particular person. No, it does not work there, because the person has their own free will. So if the person is willing, definitely it'll happen. But if the person themselves are not having any kind of attraction towards you, then
Hmm.
it will not happen, because love is again another law, and just like the law of attraction. So
Hmm.
love is a different aspect, and it is unconditional, which is why we call it unconditional love. Now
Right.
love, the moment it comes into conditions, it becomes something else. It'll become infatuation, or it'll become a greed or jealousy, a lot of those things, a lot of
Right.
lower emotions. But pure love is unconditional. So it does not work with the law of attraction when there is no love from the other side. One sided love does not work. But yes, on all the material realm, on the material aspects that you want to have in your life, like you want a bigger house, or you want a better job, or you want a bigger car,
Hmm.
any of those things, you can definitely work with the law of attraction and you will find success in that. There have been a lot of success stories about it. And somewhere I should say that I myself can see that, I've experienced it myself. So,
Right.
yes, I can vouch for it.
Um, I wonder if you do this also, because this is what I do with my clients. Is like, you want to be a millionaire, okay? So you're going to, spend 16 to 18 hours a day building this company into it. And I have them actually visualize what it's like getting up at 4 in the morning to get on a conference call, to make that sale and get turned down, and then to do it again and again before they hit that $1 million. What about you? Do you also make them fill in the potholes?
Yes, it is very important, as
Yeah,
you know it. So, because once you start coming into this practice of things, that's when you know that things are moving ahead. You are putting things into motion.
right,
And it's only when you put things into motion that, they will come back, because everything is a boomerang.
right. And everything, I like that. Everything's a boomerang. It comes around, it cycles. But no, when we set goals and we set things, we want to set the big goal, but we very
Yes.
rarely look at all the, okay, example, if you want to go and run a triathlon, which is, where they run and they swim and they do like 50,000 different things, big super thing, but
Yes.
you're overweight. So you start doing the marathon, the running every morning, and you have to look in and see how, like, as things progress there, there's going to be mornings as you're trying to train and stuff, and you forget your earbuds. It's raining, or like right now, it's like 5 degrees here, and people are still out training for marathons. It's the same thing when working with law attraction or working in life coaching. Is there's potholes. There's also, and I'm sure you talked a moment ago about cell memory and understanding that that's not your life. The people that you're seeing that may be the souls from that life may not have the same role in this life.
Exactly.
Yeah, that gets a lot of confusion. So you're also working over in Modern Spiritual. You're going to be having some classes up soon.
Yes, I am working on preparing those classes as we
Cool.
are speaking presently.
Also,
So,
well, let's
yes,
take a
very
break
soon
and
I
we'll come
shall
back
be
and
having.
talk about those.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I would be putting up something called as channeling.
Hmm.
And I think we spoke about this sometime back as well. Uh, Channeling is basically connecting with the earth energies, with your
Hmm.
own energies to a certain extent. It is also part of your kundalini raising, if you've heard of that term,
Hmm.
kundalini yoga. Okay, so what happens is that in this whole process, you are raising your energies, you're elevating yourself to the higher dimensions. You can also
Hmm.
go to the lower dimensions. There are different dimensions around, we're not just the only ones. So you can go anywhere, but to begin with, we take you to the higher planes of existence. You Right now we are on the third plane of existence, where it's a very heavy world, where everything is material, everything is tangible, you can touch, feel things. And beyond this, when we go to the fourth level or the fifth level, that's where things become energy. Now, depending on what level you are, your energy becomes lighter. And traveling through all of those places is what, it also consists a little bit about astral projection. Okay,
Okay.
so channeling is basically the process that connects you to all of these different other aspects. And somewhere we also use it for animal communication. Just like, at the beginning of this video, I told you
Mhm.
how I connected with this leopard. Okay,
Right.
it was a wild cat. It was a complete wild
Hmm.
animal, never been tamed and does not like humans. Okay, it
Right.
could attack them, it could eat them, but
Very annoyed
it
by
was,
them.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so within moments, I did this practice. And before talking to this guy, I had to prepare myself. I had to guard myself first. And while I'm doing this, I was also ready that, okay, this guy could attack me at any point of time, and just be ready for that.
Right.
But I calmed my energies. I did not let my fears get over me, because a lot of people do that. The moment I tell you that, okay, you know what, we're going to be traveling dimensions, you might meet your spirit guides, you might meet your ancestors or angels or demons, maybe. Some
Hmm.
people get very scared of that. Okay. So the first thing that we need to let go is the fear.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of shielding that happens when we do channeling work. And yes, you travel through different dimensions. You can get your own answers. You can read through your Akashic records, all of that.
All right, let's take a
Just
break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some more of this.
yes, I was
Live
coughing
tarot
bad.
and psychic readings. Get 3 free minutes on your first session. Find answers and peace of mind anywhere, anytime. Install Zodiac Psychic now and find your spiritual advisor.
For so long, everything was difficult because I was allowing it to be and almost finding more comfort in that chaos.
My psychic advisor really helped me stop and take a breath and look within and be okay with what was happening right now.
Having that 24/7 access is amazing. Just a quick moment to get some clarity.
We are here on a journey, and we can't always control it. All we can do is be along for the ride.
All right, and welcome back. So we were talking about your classes you're putting together, which is on channeling and tapping into that.
All
Um,
right.
who is the right student for this class?
Firstly, the person has to have a lot of curiosity in understanding, or
Mhm.
wanting to travel these dimensions.
Right.
Secondly, a person has to have a very, very open mind. You
Hmm.
cannot come with, skepticism in your mind, because that sort of creates blocks around you. If you are somebody who wants to activate all your energy centers, which we call as chakras,
Hmm.
if you're somebody who wants to gain your psychic powers, or you want to enhance your psychic powers, this is for you. If you are somebody who is scared of ghosts and everything that goes bump in the night, to an extent this is also for you, because this will help you get over that phobia. It will help you release that, because it's like, uh, anything is scary only till you don't know it.
Right.
Okay. The moment you start knowing it, it's not scary anymore, because you know how to handle it. You know how things are. You know what this is all about. So the
Hmm.
fear goes out. The fear is always of the unknown. The fear is never of the known. If you are hydrophobic, you're scared that I don't know what's going to happen to me in water, right?
Right.
but
You
but
know,
the moment you learn swimming, you're fine with it. Okay, throw me in the water.
right.
So it's
And,
it's
those phobias can actually be caused from the cell memory we talked about earlier.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So through channeling, you can also see your past lives. You can have a glimpse of your past life, like I was talking about. You could access your Akashic records. Your
Hmm.
Akashic records are all these, soul memories which are stored, and you can access them. You can try and find out that if you are having a certain experience, where is it coming from, where is it rooting from, is it rooting from this particular life, from a childhood incident, or maybe it's coming from a past life. Maybe it's coming from a past life that was like 5,000 years ago. It's
Hmm.
not necessary
It
that
can
your
be a
past life was
random
just 5,000.
encounter.
So yes, and yes, the pattern as well, the life patterns that you might be facing, it is
Right.
also coming from, that particular time or that particular lifetime. Why this happens is because whenever we take birth on earth, before we've taken birth, our soul decides that, okay, you know what, these were the list of things that needed to be done. Okay, I'll take this lifetime to finish that thing which is left behind.
Hmm.
So maybe that thing comes from 5,000 years back in Earth time, but the soul does not have a time. In spirituality, there's no concept of time. The moment you are out in space, time stops, right? Because everything
Right.
is working in its own time zone. So similarly, it just comes back, it just comes around, and it just deals with it.
Hmm.
So all of those things you can definitely access and address once you've accessed it.
Right.
So
You build
yes,
your
while
system.
you're doing all this, you're also bringing a lot of healing to yourself.
Right. And it takes a little bit of work. I mean, especially in channeling work, it's not an instant. This is not a microwave skill. You're going to have to learn to um, unlock the door and you let yourself walk through that. And I always tell my students when they're starting to work on something, they have fun with it, play with it, expect to get silly with it, so that you can
Yes.
actually figure it out. Um, so we talked about the different types of readings and services you provide. Your
Yes.
channeling, your life coaching, your tarot reading, your astrology, both systems. What
I'm also reading the rules.
and you're reading the runes. Yeah, I'm glad you got
Yes.
this because that's one of the more complicated divination systems, even though it's one of the most older divination systems.
It's the most ancient one that is known as of now.
Right. You know. Next to scrying. I think scrying would have come before that. Don't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Um, so what's your perfect setup? Like when the client messages you, what's your perfect setup? Like, do you want them to say, "I'd like a tarot reading. I want you to compare our astrology charts," or do you just like to get in there? Like, give me your name, your birth date, your birth location, and ask me your question, and I'll go through that.
Yes, I believe in a person giving the freedom to the reader to
Uh
choose
huh.
the module that they feel that is bringing them the messages. Because many a times, like, I have clients who come to card readings and they'll be like, okay, the cards are not speaking up for you, and I can't tell them that. So I give them a runic reading because the runes are ready to bring them a message. Or maybe
Right.
an oracle deck is ready to bring them a message as opposed to a tarot reading, but the message is very clear. The message
Right.
is right there. It's answering all your questions, and ultimately that's the goal. Because you're asking me a question not because I want to know only what the tarot is telling me, so I have closed myself, I've closed my energies. I don't
Right.
want to listen to anything else. But energies don't work like that, and this is what I tell people even when they are booking a ritual session, doing a spell, because they'll be like, okay, I'm doing the spell, so in how much time am I going to see the result? I said, do not treat it like a watch pot.
Right.
Okay, like if you're familiar with the phrase,
Mhm.
because the moment you treat it like a washed pot, it'll never boil, it'll never happen, because magic does not like to work like that. And the tarot or the runes or any other divination system that you follow, they also work with that magic.
Right.
And they do not like that, if you were, as a client, if you were to dictate that, okay, pull out two cards or three cards for me, or pull out only from this particular deck. So it does not work like that. The
Right.
messages come from wherever they feel like that, okay,
Mhm.
this is my easiest output to give you, so that I can explain myself as to what message I want to give you as a person who's, as a querent.
Right.
So that's how it comes.
Right. And you're on Fortuna, and that is the text-based one, correct? To where they just text
Yes,
you and you text back, and they can go
yes,
into private chat with you. And it's
right.
it's a little delayed, but just because it's a little delayed, that means the client doesn't have to be intensely there throughout the whole chat.
Yes,
It's
That's one helping aspect because it also gives me a chance to go a little in depth into the reading. So I'm
Mhm.
not just like, okay, I've just pulled up the surface level card and I'm just telling you, okay, this is it, because that becomes like a one word answer.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, you can extend it
right.
into a sentence after that, but technically, it is just that. It's like, okay, I'm running out of time. Tell me right now. And it does
Mhm.
not work like that. You have to give it time. You have to dig into that question. You have to find out the surrounding of this particular situation that this client is in and why they are facing these things. So all of that comes out when you have this text system, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like
I
that
like that. I also
system
like it
better.
that, like, if they're on a lunch break, they can quickly message you, and by the
I'm
time they get
sorry.
done with
Sorry, you'll have to repeat. Your voice got a little
okay,
disturbed there.
that's fine. What I like about Fortuna is, like, if it's a work situation or whatever, or they're on a date, they can text you their question, and then
Yes,
you can get back to them. It's not like they, you know, has to keep checking their phone. It tells you when you're going to
right.
get back to them, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. It's eased
Yeah,
out for both of us.
yeah. Now, what about when you're working with pets? What information do you need about the pet?
I would require a picture and, of course, their name that
Okay.
you have kept. And because most of the people are not even familiar on how to name their pets, they like a name and
Yeah.
they'll be like, okay, I'm going to call you that.
Right.
But you'll be surprised. Like, I have 15 dogs with me right now,
Oh
and all
wow.
of them told me their names.
Yeah. Both
So
my
they're all
rescues did. Yeah. Which, by the way, as soon as you came into the studio, I had to put I have an Australian German Shepherd who's a
oh,
3 year
wow.
old. I had to put him
Okay.
up because he's like, "Ooh, play toy," and I'm like, "No, no, 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 go back to your room. Let the adults talk."
I know.
So
So
when do
yes,
your
they do.
classes think? When do you think you'll have your channeling class up?
I'll be having it in this coming month, so we'll start it off with a bang in the new year.
Awesome. That'll be very great. All right, dear. Well, thank you for joining me today. It was really nice getting to sit down and talk with you and hear about all the wonderful things you're doing there. And, go over to Fortuna. It's an app. Download it. You can text response back and forth. Apparently, you can send pictures, which is amazing. And what's your standard hours? Like, when are you
Mm,
normally on?
well, normally I'm on from 10 in the morning India time to about 12, 1 in the night.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very nice. All right, guys. You have a magical day, and we'll see you next Friday. Bye, y'all.